I did not wake up one day and just decided to quit my job. I planned for it carefully, quietly, and every rand counted. In this video, I'm sharing exactly how I planned to quit my job without any panic, any guilt, or any fear of going broke. Hi guys, how's it going? It's Laratum taking and coming to my YouTube channel. So 2 months ago, I decided to quit my job, not to free myself from a 9 to 5, but to look for something better. You know, this work environments, you're in an environment and really feel that, okay, I do not belong here, or it's time for me to look for other opportunities, or the environment is toxic and you feel that you need to leave, right? So for my reasons that I'm not going to go deep into, I have finally decided that it's time for me to leave this place and go search for other opportunities, right? However, I knew that I cannot just up and leave without having to plan for it, because I do not want to place myself in a situation where I am so stressed. I don't know where my next meal is going to come from, or I feel that, you know, I'm not progressing in how I do not want to put myself in that situation. So I had to think of a way out and think of a way in which I'm going to continue living comfortably while I'm waiting for something to come. Because let's be honest, guys, you can quit your job. You don't know how long it's going to take you to get another job, or if it's business, you don't know how long it's going to, you know, take off. You have no idea, but it's a matter of just trusting the process. So with me, I actually decided that if I can have enough to cover me for 3 months, then in that 3 months, by God's grace, I'm gonna find something, and then I won't have to exhaust all my savings and my investments. You guys know that on this channel I talk about everything personal finance, savings and investments, and I'm quite open with my savings and investments journey. So at the time I did have enough savings, even though it was not that much, but it could really push me. So my plan was to have a safety net for 3 months. If I can survive 3 months, then I'm going to be good. That was my plan. So looking at my finances, I saw that, okay, girl, you don't have enough, and really you cannot just, you know, up and leave. Maybe stay a bit longer and then save more and you will leave. Hence I'm saying that every rent counted, because I knew that I'm going to need this money, so I could not afford to waste any money. So my plan was to work 1 more month, knowing that after then, you know, I can stay at least 4 to 5 months. But unfortunately, I woke up one day and everything in me was like, girl, stay home. So crazy. But at least even then, when I had those thoughts, when I decided to say I am done, I knew that I'm safe. And this is something that is quite important. If you are somebody who is looking to move away from the 9 to 5, or you want to go search for other growth opportunities, you really need to plan for it. And we cannot excuse the fact that some people work in the most toxic environments and they want to get out of those environments. And I know that we are told all the time to not leave our jobs, you know, you don't leave money on the table, but us being told to not leave money on the table, we are then told to leave everything else on the table, because then that means, you know, you need to take everything that comes with that environment. Your peace is being compromised, your mental health is being affected, but you are staying because of money. And it is so tough, I know. Not everybody has the privilege of quitting a job knowing that they have enough savings, or they can get something quite quick. You know, like some of the things are quite unknown, but I believe that for as long as you are in control of something, then be in control of it. Because imagine if I did not have any savings, none whatsoever, I was just going to watch myself dying, actually, my mental health being affected, looking at my career and thinking, girl, we are not moving, right? Simply because I do not have savings in place. So the one thing that helped me actually is that I have been saving, and I had no idea that one day I will wake up and I will need my savings more than anything. And we often talk about emergency funds, to say you need to have emergency funds, have at least 3 months of your living expenses. And when you think about it, when we talk about that, we're just saying, should anything happen, you are not able to work, right? And from there, we're just taking off unforeseen circumstances that you have not planned for. But you can actually plan looking at your emergency funds to say, if I have 3 months worth of my living expenses, then I can quit my job, stay at home for 3 months and look for something. And hence I say that by God's grace, something can come in that 3 months. So I think having your savings in place is quite important, and it is so underrated because you need to have reasons why you are saving, and you're never going to know how much you need to have if you are just saving. But just having savings, that is going to help you a lot. And there are people that, are publicly open about the situations at work or their career aspirations or business aspirations, but they are not able to move from their 9 to 5 simply because they don't have enough savings in place. And corporate is tough. I think life is just something else, hey? And when you're young, you're not thinking of this thing. While you're growing, you see that, okay, life does get real. But you need to position yourself that should anything come, you know that you are able to go through life for whatever period without the fear of going broke, without having to wonder where your next meal is coming from. So for me, I had my savings in place and my investments in place, and I really saw that Lerato, you can survive. And I have said this before multiple times on my channel that there is no way that I am going to continue living in Joburg without a job, whereas I can just go home and not exhaust all my savings and my investments. To me, that does not make sense. So that was the plan, to say I can stay home for 3 months. I mean, here in Joburg for 3 months, and then if nothing comes up, then go back to Limpopo, honestly, because like I say, it makes no sense to me to just relying on your savings, knowing very well that you can be home, be at so much peace, because finances come with their own stresses. And trust me, living off of your savings, that thing is so stressful. I don't even want to lie. It's so stressful because nothing hurts than knowing that no money is coming in. You're just spending money and no money is coming in. And the money that is being spent without any cash injection runs out very quick. And tell you what, you can plan to have 3 months worth of your living expenses or 6, but you are not going to stay in budget. Trust me, you need to have something extra. And when you have something extra, and life is going to force you to have something extra because you don't have any income and anything can happen. You can get sick, you need to go tap into your emergency funds. And if you had planned that you're only going to have 3 months worth of your living expenses, then it's being reduced because you are touching the following month's savings. If you think about it, if you need 3,000, if you have saved 3,000 every month, knowing that you're going to need 3,000 and you get sick, that is what, 600 of a GP consultation. Where is it coming from? From your next month's saving. So that compromises everything. And I think, in personal finance, I really believe that some of the things we just say because they're more like general rules, and we forget to put them into perspective and remember that we are living in real life and in real time, and anything can happen. So I saw it, honestly, and I'm like, we are told all the time, have emergency funds, have 3 months worth of your living expenses. And when you are now living off of your emergency funds, you really get to see that it's not just roses. It's really not, because what do you mean? And I don't even want to lie. We are human beings first and foremost. Trust me, you are going to be stressed. You are going to be stressed. Regardless of how much you have, knowing how much you can stay at home and live off of your emergency funds, knowing that when 1 month passes, it's not the second month, and you are exhausting your emergency funds. As in, when days go, you are exhausting your emergency funds. And that is not cute. Trust me, I've been there. It's not cute. It is really not. So it is not an easy thing, but it is worth it. Really, it is. And to just talk a bit about this work environment, right? Tell you what, it is not worth it. It is really not worth it. Yes, we do live in toxic economic times, high unemployment rates, but some of the things I just believe that, listen, give it to God, God will handle it. And some people are really quick to say, but how could you just, get up and leave? What if you don't find a job? People don't find jobs. You need to appreciate your job because other people don't have. So you're basically saying, I need to wake up every day wishing that my taxi can be hit by a bus so I can go to hospital and not go to work, simply because I need to keep a paycheck. Hence, I've said that We are told to never leave money on the table, but leave everything else on the table. It is not worth it. And if I tell you, having to unlearn what you have experienced, that trauma, whatever it is, it's a tough thing to go through. When I tell you that I had nightmares, I know this is crazy. I had nightmares for a good 3 weeks. Now imagine if you're going to stay in such environment for 7 years. It is very, very difficult. It is very difficult. But what I can say is, listen, if you know that you don't want to be in that environment, and also this even goes for relationships and friendships and like all those other things that we go through in life. If you know that you would not want to be in that situation anymore, start planning for it, because nobody's coming to save you. People are so narcissistic. People care about themselves. Then they don't care about you. As long as they get what they want from you, they're never gonna come and save you. And you know very well. I think another thing is, in your core that this is not saving you anymore. So why are you still there? Right? And you are still there because you don't have any means, but create means for yourself. Start saving that money. It is going to save you. And that is so liberating. And as hard as it can be to move away from that and live with the reality that you have chosen, to not have a job, because you have chosen, one thing for sure, that comes with its own uncertainty. You start asking yourself, did I make the right decision? Am I not making a mistake? You're going to have all of those thoughts, and you might even feel tempted to retract your resignation or whatever, because you're thinking, what if I'm making the biggest mistake of your life? So for me, as somebody who is a believer, I really prayed. I was like, God, I don't know if I'm making a mistake, but you, my guy, will carry me, because there is no way. And if we are going to talk about the fruits of the Spirit, what are you still doing in an environment that you are not experiencing the fruits of the Spirit? What are you still doing there? So for me, it was that. And also, there is so much you can take. And if you can, just say it ends here with me, and you go seek something else. But only if it makes sense. Only if you have the means. So with that being my reality, where now I'm looking at my finances and I'm like, we are going to start afresh. And it takes a long time, honestly, to get your finances in check. And in as much as I talk about personal finance, I never want to forget the fact that we are human beings, and we need to now factor in reality when we talk about personal finances. I'm just like, it's going to take me a very long time to get my finances in check the way that I want them to be, and to also recover what I have lost. Because believe me, it's dry. My savings are pretty much dry, so I am going to be starting afresh. What also counted is that my friend and I decided to move separately. And I had to spend so much of my money using the paycheck that I got, and also tap into my savings. And now I'm unemployed and I need to continue tapping into my savings. That strained my finances so much. But all I can say is, in as much as that is something that you're going to experience, if you decide to do that, it is worth it. Trust me, it is worth it. And you would know that in that point in time, you chose yourself. And that's what you knew at that point in time. And never ever feel like you have made a mistake, because ask yourself, would you have done something different? And if that is the case, that means staying in an environment that does not serve you anymore. And that comes with its own disadvantages. And the one thing that I've also learned actually was to be detached from my money. Right now, I understand it 100%. I have always said that I am not emotionally attached to my money, but detached from your money. Because if you have a fear of running out of money, trust me, you are never going to choose yourself, because you're going to feel like, okay, I'm going to, lose my mind if I run out of money. And that kind of mentality also forces you to continue being in situations that you know for a fact that are harming you more than anything. Whereas you can just say, I've been saving this money so it can save me. Then go with that. and save yourself. It is very difficult, it is a challenging thing, but it is worth it. And another thing, instead of just living off of your emergency funds, take the money and think of starting a business while you wait. You know, these motivational speakers always say that do not wait for the government to do something. You will understand it. What they're basically saying is that if you have any money saved, take the money and create an opportunity for yourself. And you can do that. And I think being where I am today, I would say start even when you still have a 9 to 5. There are so many side hustles that you can start there, you know. Go start a YouTube channel, go start that small business, because one day that is going to save you. And I believe so much in planting yourself. If you start today, 2 years from now, you're going to be in a complete different position and things are going to look so much better. For example, with me, I started my YouTube channel 2 years ago and I got monetized in Feb. And also my side hustle, when I just looked at things and I was like, okay, Lerato, you know what, you can do this. You do have some backup, even though it's a bit shaky, you know, like YouTube is very slow, and with business sometimes somebody can, you know, pull off or people don't buy this month, but it is better than not having anything. So the one thing that helped me a lot is knowing that, okay, but I do have 1,000 rands coming from this person and that person, so I can afford to buy groceries. And the only thing that I'm going to use savings for is rent. At least, you know, that allows me to survive even beyond 3 months and even 6 months. So all I'm saying is your savings are going to save you. Never take for granted your savings, and do not eat your savings unnecessarily, so thinking that you have an income that is going to come in the following month, or, you know, for the rest of your life. Anything can happen in life, and hence you're saying you need to have emergency funds so that should anything happen, because it could be that you are not just quitting a job, you get retrenched. What are you going to do? Those kind of things happen. And with the economy being so tough, companies do close. You know, this is something that has been happening. It happens all the time, and you never know if you're going to be the unfortunate one. So try by all means to save as much as you can. That money is going to save you. And when you get retrenched, when you quit your job, when you now decide to go into business, you know that you do have that financial safety net that is going to grant you the peace of mind that we talk about all the time, the peace that you need. Because peace is something that we all need, and for as long as we can, we need to give it to ourselves. So where I am today is I'm going to start saving from scratch, you know, and just make sure that I have more than enough in my savings, because now I know better. And if you are somebody who's thinking of quitting their job, either to look for another job or to start a business, take care of your finances, save that money so it can save you one day. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.